Hello, my name is John Rose and I'm the manager of the Advocacy Role Training Project. I'd like to welcome you to this brief introductory module on the advocacy role for professionals working with victim survivors of sexual violence. This module should take about 15 minutes to complete. Contents. This module aims to introduce you to a broad range of advocacy concepts and to start linking these concepts to your current work practices. Specifically, this module will cover types of advocacy, why focus on advocacy as a specific learning area in the sexual violence field, and some of the key elements of advocacy practice. With this awareness, you'll be asked to look at where these elements and concepts fit into your current role and practice. Finally, you'll also review associated prerequisite knowledge areas and resources for ongoing learning. Definition of advocacy. Advocacy is an approach which aims to protect the personal, legal, and societal rights of an individual. The United Kingdom's Action for Advocacy definition is: advocacy is taking action to help people say what they want, secure their rights, represent their interests, and obtain services they need. Advocates and advocacy schemes work in partnership with the people they support and take their side. Advocacy promotes social inclusion, equality, and social justice. Take a moment to really consider the different parts of this definition and the sorts of things you do in your current work role which reflects these elements. Types of advocacy. Types of advocacy include individual advocacy, advocating for and protecting the rights of another person or persons. Self-advocacy is advocating for oneself. Some people require support from professional staff to help facilitate this. Uninstructed advocacy. People with developmental or physical disabilities or mental illness may be unable to provide instructions for others to advocate for them. Advocates try to understand their world, to seek views from those close to them, and to work from a rights perspective for them. Systems or political advocacy. This involves advocating to change the system and to promote causes. This module and associated workshop will focus primarily on individual advocacy, including facilitating self-advocacy. In the context of frontline advocates, systems advocacy will primarily refer to the work with local systems, but may also include broader systems issues. Why advocacy? Advocacy services and roles are commonplace for clients of vulnerable groups such as disabilities, domestic and family violence, mental health, and community housing. In other countries such as the United Kingdom and the USA, it is also common within services for victim survivors of sexual violence. As you know, this is because this group is significantly disempowered and vulnerable. Sexual violence itself involves exerting power over the victim in a way which often leaves them feeling disempowered and vulnerable. It is often accompanied by other forms of domestic violence. There is a higher incidence of sexual assault in some marginalised groups, such as those with disabilities and Aboriginal peoples and Torres Strait Islanders. The criminal justice and social welfare systems around sexual assault are complex and characterised by professionals with very specific language and processes. The offender-based adversarial criminal justice system can place great pressures on victim survivors, with reports of re-traumatization common. Victim survivors face serious safety concerns, along with a range of immediate and longer-term practical issues. These are priority areas which require specialist preparation. Experience from the United Kingdom and the USA, as well as feedback from victim survivors themselves, supports the utility of advocacy services as well as the need to enhance and improve the advocacy role. Advocacy Elements. Take a minute or two to write down what you think might be some of the core areas required in the advocacy role to meet the Action for Advocacy's definition. Pause the video or presentation now and restart when you have finished. Great. Now, as you compare your list with the following 9 domain areas, understand that this is not a complete list. In fact, 19 advocacy standards were developed as part of this project. However, professionals who are competent in and practice these 9 key domain areas would certainly fulfill the advocacy role. The first area is for the advocate, the agency in which the advocate works, and their services to be accessible and known. As you know, the majority of those who are sexually assaulted don't report their assault or receive professional support because of a range of barriers. To service this most vulnerable group, advocates have a role in promoting services, ensuring they are known, and developing innovative methods to access isolated individuals and groups. Client-led. Advocacy support is based on client wishes and needs. The advocate provides enabling support and structures to allow for the client to take the lead in decisions and planning. Advocates help clients understand their rights, and in those cases where clients are unable to express their wishes, advocates defer to these rights. Informed decisions. The skillful provision of timely information, along with facilitating decision-making techniques, enables the clients to make informed decisions. This is very different from giving advice. Empowerment. The other 8 elements described here all provide opportunities for empowerment. Advocates also work from a strengths-based perspective while being sensitive and respectful for those times when the client is feeling depleted and disabled. Practical and emotional support. Advocates provide emotional support in a way which lets clients know there is genuine care and understanding from an emotionally available and ethical professional. Practical supports are facilitated or provided based on client wishes and Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Independence. To truly facilitate client wishes, advocates work towards being independent of organizational, professional, and psychological bias. Where organizational bias exists, advocates negotiate operational independence. When bias is unavoidable, advocates disclose the nature of this bias to clients. Justice supports. Advocates provide non-investigative, non-evidentiary support. They have a detailed understanding of the criminal justice system and help victim survivors navigate their way through this. Multi-agency support and coordination. Advocates enable client representation with various agencies and professionals, as well as facilitating a degree of coordination and collaboration between disciplines and agencies. Client feedback and complaints. Advocates welcome and encourage feedback. Informal and formal methods are used. Advocates progress actions based on this feedback in accordance with client wishes and needs and feed back this feedback to the client. Some feedback may require systems advocacy approaches, which is best achieved, where possible, through multidisciplinary and multi-agency teams. Course context for further development of advocacy knowledge, attitude, and skills. The previous 9 elements, and indeed this course, presumes knowledge and skills from your professional qualifications. In addition to core practices such as record keeping, confidentiality, and communication skills, an essential prerequisite for advocacy work in sexual violence is a comprehensive knowledge and skills in sexual violence. Associated important skills and knowledge sets include strengths-based approaches, child abuse and child protection, cultural competency, systems approaches including family systems, trauma-informed approaches, and attachment theory. In the website where the link to this module is located, click on the Courses tab to see the above diagram. Click on any of the oval domains to go to a range of online learning resources on each of these areas. Role legitimacy, role adequacy, and role support. Workplace professional development, associated behavioural change, and positive impacts on clients are dependent on three areas of role legitimacy, role adequacy, and role support. Role legitimacy means understanding where advocacy fits in within your role and agreement on the legitimacy of advocacy in your role from your supervisors and colleagues. Role adequacy refers to the skills and knowledge required to do advocacy work, and role support includes supervisory and peer on-the-job coaching and support. As the arrow indicates, part of the pre-workshop setup includes some initial workplace activities. These are designed to begin to develop the role legitimacy and role support in your advocacy role in your workplace. Workplace learning. 3 short exercises to focus your attention onto advocacy practices within your work context. Exercise 1. Advocacy elements in your work. Notice your current work practices around the 9 advocacy domains previously identified. What are the strengths and limitations of advocacy as practiced in your work? What are some questions which arise out of your observations? Exercise 2. Role legitimacy and support, a discussion with your supervisor. Give your supervisor the Supervisor Support Guide page, which can be found next to the link to this module. Then, ask your supervisor about his or her expectations regarding your role in providing advocacy-type services to your clients. Explain your course will involve action learning and follow-up coaching support, ideally from your supervisor, as part of your ongoing professional development. Exercise 3. Review the website. Briefly browse the website in which this online course is found. In addition to browsing, use the search engine to find resources within this web on advocacy or sexual violence. Consider also watching one or more of the videos in this website. You've now finished this part of the course, and it's time to do the 3 exercises. We thank you very much for your commitment to your professional development, as well as your commitment and passion in this field. It's very appreciated. Bye for now.